Good evening and welcome to the September 22nd Health and Education Committee. This is an excellent committee, very interested in education and health as well. And I need a motion from one of our wonderful members on the minutes to approve the minutes, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And there are none, of course. Our agenda tonight will perhaps be a brief one, but we don't really know. We have really a very pleasant duty at first. Well, semi-pleasant, I guess. Mr. Andre Fresco is with us from the Rutherford County Health Department, and he has a guest. And if you both will come forward and let him introduce this lady, please. We know her, but we'll let Andre do the duties. And one of either Mr. Fresco or his guest have a report to present. I think you have a copy of it from the Health Department. Mr. Fresco, take it away, sir.
Yes, good evening. I'm sad to say this will be my last meeting with the Health and Ed Committee. I'm officially become the director of the Montgomery County Health Department, but it's my pleasure to introduce Dana Garrett tonight as the new county director in Rutherford County. Dana's been a nurse with the Health Department for 12 years, and she's been the nurse director at our facilities as long as I've been there. She's the heart and soul of the Health Department. She's a local person, if you will, feels very strongly about Murfreesboro and Smyrna, and has been involved behind the scenes in everything good that we've done at the Health Department, including very involved in the process of building the new Smyrna Clinic. So she was heavily involved with the process of helping evacuees from New Orleans during Hurricane Gustav, and worked with the Red Cross during other emergency actions. So she is a nurse's nurse and very knowledgeable about the Health Department, very committed to the community, and she'll be a wonderful addition for your programs here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Ms. Garrett, welcome. You want to present the report? Anything in particular you'd like to point out about the report?
No, it's just our regular monthly report that I've included for you to review. And also just a little information about upcoming seasonal flu clinics that we have scheduled.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You want to go ahead and announce those because this is televised.
Yes, ma'am. That'll be fine. We have the Murfreesboro Senior Citizen Center, St. Clair's. We have that scheduled for October 21st. And people can schedule an appointment with them at 848-2540. And those will be from 8 to 12. The Laverne Senior Citizen Center, we have those scheduled on October 15th from 8 to 12, and you can schedule an appointment with them at 793-6295. The Smyrna Senior Citizen Center is still deciding on a date based on they haven't had a lot of demand. So if they decide that their members want it, then we will go out and do it.
Any other questions from anyone on the Department of Health? I'd point out, if you would please reiterate that the seasonal flu shots are what coming up immediately.
Yes, sir.
And then would you go ahead and follow the next step, obviously?
Yes, sir. And then, of course, there's lots of questions about the H1N1 vaccination, which we're involved in planning and receiving that. And as soon as, probably at our next meeting that we have, I'll have dates of clinics when we'll be doing that as well. It's all to be determined yet. But we are planning the stages and we'll be able to distribute that, no problem.
Questions from anyone? Comments? Need a motion to approve Health Department report, please?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And there are none. I think probably two things need to be said here. First of all, Mr. Fresco, I want to thank you for, you're one of the first department heads that I met when I came here, and your friendship and your help in showing me through the Health Department, and then the expansion in the northern part of the county and going down there. Many of us went, of course, to that opening, and it was terrific. I'll just say from a personal standpoint, I appreciate the terrific job you've done and your friendship. And Ms. Garrett, we certainly, as a committee, and we represent 21 county commissioners, welcome you to this very tough job, and I'm sure you know you do have a tough job to,
Yes, sir.
and big shoes to fill, really.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anything else from the health department? I guess not. Okay, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Andre,
it. Thank you.
fine job.
I appreciate it.
Next on the agenda is the community care report, and I don't believe we have a community care report at this time. And but we do have the great resource, and that would be Commissioner Cook. And Commissioner Cook, I think it's been on pretty solid ground here for some time, and collections have been good. But if you have any comments, you're on their board, please.
Now, we're doing well. And we're doing well in our collections too right now. So, but we're on go.
Yes, sir.
I got one question. You know, we were penalized several months ago.
We're still working on,
We're still working on it. Are we paying any penalties?
I don't think so, not yet.
Not yet.
Mr. McAdoo is new to our committee, and I should have said something about that. Welcome to the Health Ed Committee, Mr. McAdoo. I think we, the mayor did tell us the last time that we were in good shape with collections, and I'm glad that's, and with and the penalties you mentioned, that we had taken considerable action on those, so that's good news. I don't believe any vote is necessary on that since we don't have a formal report. So, special projects report from the school board, and Ms. Jolly, as she always is with us this evening, and you all have had this material for some time.
You don't have it. It's not there, it's not.
Probably need
I brought
Make
an
the
extra
note
because
that
I knew
he's
you
on
were
the
on the
committee.
committee.
Yeah.
The only thing I really have to point out is on page 2, campus school renovation and Grant Chapel Elementary. We paid the final retainage on, we released the retainage on that, so those are really basically construction complete right now.
Campus and what? Just
Um,
campus
Grant
school?
Chapel,
Brent, okay.
although it didn't show that on the percentage, but we released the retainage, which is usually makes it complete.
Anything else, Ms. Jolly, that you want to point out?
No, no other questions. Jeff can answer.
Where are we on Rockvale? I see we have a little over $100,000 unobligated there. I think I asked this a couple of months ago, and I think I was told we need to wait till the new school year got started. And then we need to wait a little longer to, we're going to be moving that money.
Yes, sir, we'll be moving that money.
Any questions or comments from anyone? I don't hear anyone.
Motion to approve the report. I mean, we need to get off. We need one on this, I guess, don't we?
Hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Ms. Jolly, thank you very much.
Good job.
Board of Education report, Mr. Sandvig is with us this evening. And he will come forward with some general purpose school budget amendments. It's all right with the committee. We have 3, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sandvig, could we do them all together? Is that all right with the committee?
That's all right with the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Goods. Mr. Goods speaking for the entire committee. And did an excellent job. Mr. Sandvig, please.
All 3 of these amendments are moving around existing funding or changes driven either by ERA, our federal stimulus money, or an account change. Nothing earth-shaking. The first amendment, we are reducing the state funding for Career Ladder extended contract and the related extended contract expenditures by $12,092. The state reduced the system's 2009-10 allocation a little bit below what we thought it was going to be in the spring, which was already a reduction. And the recommended motion is to amend $12,092 from state funding for career ladder extended contract and reduce the related extended contract expenditures by $12,092 as presented.
Questions from anyone? Pretty standard stuff, I think we can agree. Mr. Sanford, please.
The coordinated school health, this amendment moves the funding and the expenditures for this program from a federal sub-fund to the general purpose school budget. This year and next, the program is being funded with ERA funds and needs to be part of the GPS budget. The $180,000 in expenditures cover the 2 staff members and program expenditures. It's a reimbursement grant. We get the money as we spend, or after we spend it.
What happens when the grant runs out?
We will have to decide what we want to do with that program.
So this is a new program?
It started 2 years ago. The state was, and basically it was a 100% funded program. The state was very insistent that all systems start this program, so we did. And, should have funding for it for next year, and then we will see after that. And the recommended motion is to amend $180,000 state funding for the coordinated school health grant and the related $180,000 in expenditures as presented.
Any questions from committee members? Mr. Sandy?
And the third amendment reduces federal E-rate revenue by $211,531 and also reduces the related expenditure, communication, Office of the Principal, 72410-307 by $211,531. This year, the state is handling the E-rate revenue differently. The E-rate discount will be directly reflected in our billings from AT&T instead of as a revenue. So we have the revenue that's left is for a continuation from last year. But yeah, until they make another change, it will just be a direct reduction to our bills in the future. And the recommended motion here is to amend $211,531 from E-rate revenue, account 44-146, and to amend the same amount in the related communication expenditure, 72410-307, as presented.
Questions from any member on any of the three?
I move we accept them.
Motion to approve has been made by Dr. Bullen. Need a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Gooch. All in favor, please?
Need a roll call, their
Whoop.
budget amendment.
Thank you very much, Becky. Got to call the roll. Ms. Shelton?
Commissioner Bullen,
Yes, yes, yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Will Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan.
Yes. Thanks to Dr. Bullen for voting 4 times on that. We have any questions? I have a couple that I want to ask Mr. Sandvig on the pretty should fall under any other business. Does any member have any other question for him? I have just one. The current growth number?
Yes, and I was unable to get, Mr. Odom was in a meeting, so I was unable to get the most recent number from him. The last one he and I discussed, we were up about 1,040 students, 2.8, 2.9%. So.
Did you all, the school board, was it 2.5 or 3 that you?
We tried to have it built to cover 2.5 to 3. We obviously would be this close to 3, are very tight on positions at this point.
Just keep coming, don't they?
They do, yes, sir.
They like our schools, evidently.
Yeah.
That's a school right there.
Yes, sir.
It is. Yeah.
That's probably pretty solid.
It probably is.
We're after Labor Day is probably going to.
Right. And that was the right after Labor Day number. I just don't happen to have a copy of it, and was unable to get one today.
Okay, I know the newspaper had 1,055, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll vary.
so it's right in there somewhere.
Yeah, it floats right. One of the days that Mr. Odom and I were looking at it was, I think, 1,060 that day. So we see a lot of variation.
Any other questions for Mr. Sandvik?
Where's most of the new students coming from?
I have not seen any analysis of where they come from, where they're coming from at this point, Commissioner. I know we have a larger than usual increase in kindergarten this year. And that's one of those, one year you'll see kindergarten be fairly static, and the next year a big jump in it. It just, the different grades vary from year to year. So,
I was just wondering if we had a lot of out-of-state students coming in.
and
I
don't know the sources yet. And once the first 20-day attendance period is finalized,
For 6 weeks,
we report in 20-day periods.
20-day period, okay.
Yeah. So once that's stabilized, we'll be able to get some firmer numbers and maybe get into some analysis. One of the points I asked Mr. Odom about, under the STAR system with all the stuff that is recorded, we could not, that information is not in the STAR system. It was something on stools some folks had come from. The system doesn't track that.
Don't want to berate the point, but according to the newspaper at least, and just use some rounding figures here, out of 1,050, almost 300 of them go to Blackman High School alone, and about 150 at Oakland High School. That's about a little over a third of the growth right there. And the city grew very, very little. Commissioner Williams?
Yeah, I don't know if this, are we into the other business portion? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I had something and I think it was either 2 or 3 meetings ago. We asked, did the school board have any particular problem with us starting to film the work sessions? And since we've not heard anything,
no one from county government has contacted us about it. I mentioned that to Mr. Gill, and I believe he mentioned it to the board members, so we're kind of waiting for the county to contact us when they were ready to do that.
okay, so I guess I don't know what the process would be. Do we need to, I mean, the funds are in place to do this. I'd gotten with Brian prior to the budget and with Lisa, and they had put the funds in place to do this. It was only about $1,500, $2,000 more a year. So I don't know, do we need to move this forward out of this committee to the full commission on that for doing that? I would assume that would be the appropriate action, would it not?
Or would it come from steering?
It seemed like to me that when we left, and you're exactly right, it was about 3 meetings ago, I don't remember if we asked the mayor to tell Mr. Gill that the money was there and they could, I don't remember what we did, but if it's all right with the committee, I'll be glad to call Mr. Gill and tell him that, or we can go another route if you wish. But that the money is there, and we had requested that they consider, I believe, wasn't that what we said? We requested that they consider doing it, and the money was there to do so.
Well, I'm not exactly sure how it was worded in that, but due to the amount of work that goes on in the work sessions, I've had some conversation with a couple of board members that it's really not fair when people turn in on what is viewed and they say, this all they do? When they have this Tuesday night session that works, and I don't know the percentage of the taxpayer money that's being used, but I think it's somewhere 80% of the money comes through that one night. So I think it would only be fitting for the taxpayers to be able to view it. I mean, because the meetings are at 5 o'clock, it's hard to get to that. So I don't know the process. I'd like to bring it before the commission if that's needed, to put it on next month's agenda if that's what we need to do.
if I could read your motion, I'll be back in June. I'd be glad to do so.
Sure.
And thanks, Ms. Shelton, for finding it here. Commissioner, this is in June 23rd. Commissioner Williams moved, seconded by Commissioner Phillips, to go forward with talking with the school board to get work sessions televised and forward a copy of these minutes to the superintendent. This motion passed unanimously by roll call vote. And that was the end of the meeting. We adjourned right after that. So I'll be glad to do anything you want me to do or nothing. But I'll be glad to call the superintendent and speak with him and report back next time.
Apparently, Mr. Sandvik says they're just waiting on somebody to contact them. I mean, I don't know.
That's all they need.
I don't know if we have the authority to mandate them to televise their meetings, and if they're willing to do it without somebody trying to pull rank over somebody else, I'd rather do it the cordial way than try and force somebody to do it.
Yeah.
So,
No, me too.
Yeah,
I mean, but I think it's very important for the people in the county.
and it's probably just got dropped, you know, and it's been brought back to everybody's attention, and I feel sure would hope a couple of phone calls could remedy this situation without making this a full-blown argument on the commission floor.
Oh, I don't want an
Yeah,
argument out of
yeah.
that. We get enough of those.
Yeah.
I think the chairman can handle it.
I'll be glad to, we can start at that point. I think, if I'm not mistaken, our opinion was just exactly as you all just said, that we were going to ask them to consider. I mean, they're an elected body. We can't force them to do anything, but we can ask them to consider, particularly since the money's been appropriated, the money is in the account to handle that, and it is relatively cheap to do it. And if that's we'll at least start there if you want to. Do I need a motion on that? I wouldn't think so.
No, that's fine.
Is that all right? Anything else from the committee? I have one other item, not really a question, but just to mention, there was a young lady at McFadden, Joy Frierson, who I believe was, now I'm embarrassed, I'm not sure if she's a 7th or an 8th grader, but Coach Field from Riverdale High School called me. He is extremely active, of course, track coach there at Riverdale, and he keeps up with everybody. And this youngster went to Hershey, Pennsylvania in the Hershey Games and won the 100 meter. And I think that is a national title in her age group. I've been told that the young lady can absolutely fly. I've also been told that she is an absolutely terrific student. And she was honored by the school board with a plaque, I think, our last meeting. And I just wanted to mention that another of our students, we have many, but a national title is something that's pretty impressive.
Being as you brought up athletics, there have been some people contact me about the new Central Academic Magnet School. I believe that's the name of it, and the amount of athletics that are proposed to be offered there. There was talk back early on in starting to aim toward a magnet school about having a very limited amount of athletics to being an academic school, just the bare minimums. And I understand now there is talk about having everything except for football. And there are some people out there that are concerned about if we're going to be paying coaches, needing improved facilities, and if at some point in time somebody wanting a football stadium and they add football and things like that. And I don't know when we get to talk about that, if we get to talk about that at all, but I would like to ask maybe next month's meeting if Mr. Odom or Mr. Gill or whoever the appropriate person might come and report to this committee, and because I remember communications back several years ago about, not there. Some of the other principals, I believe, were a little more accepting of the fact of an academic high school because they would still retain their athletes. A kid with great grades but wanted to play a sport would still go to your Sequel, your Oakland, Riverdale, Smyrna, wherever. And if there are all the teams with football, they may lose those students to that school. And I don't know if we have the authority here to even discuss that, but I would like to have as much information as I could get, because there are some people out there concerned that that's more of an academic school, that's not necessarily an athletic school. So if we could get a report on that next month, I would appreciate it.
Mr. Sandvik, I saw you writing. Is that a good sign?
Absolutely.
I felt like that it was. Thank you, Commissioner Jordan. Any other comments from any board member and other business or otherwise? I'd like to ask if you might want to look ahead on our schedule as the November meeting, I think we're all right in October, but the November meeting falls in Thanksgiving week, and the December meeting, scheduled meeting, falls in the Christmas week, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not suggesting that we do anything, but it just may be something we might want to look at, and it won't come as a surprise to you in October when I bring it up. If there's nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.